Hi everyone, welcome to the channel, or welcome back if you're a returning watcher. As you can see, the portal is blue. We've got a ×2 on Ancient Shards this weekend, and I am excited. I've got about 175 on this account and about 150 on the other account. I think in total it's 331 shards that I'll be pulling today on this video. And we're doing it all in aid of the fusion of Vault Keeper Wixwell, which was the sort of community event. I think the community picked his skills and got into it and voted on the skills that he would get out of different skills that Polarium and raidshadowlegends put forward to the community. The community picked him, and now we get the champion. So I will go into his kit if I pull him, as I do with all legendaries on my shardpull videos. But I'm not going to go into his kit right now. I think if you're watching this video, you probably already know about his kit. You already know what he's going to be about. So we've got a ×2 on Ancients, and we also have a ×10% chance, if we pull a legendary, of pulling this guy, Wallmaster Authorian. Again, if I pull him, I'll go into his kit. He's a cool looking champion, not as cool as Vault Keeper Wixwell, but a cool looking champion all the same. If we pull him, I'll go into his kit, and I'll go into the kit of any legendary I pull. And before we get into pulling the shards, guys, if you enjoy my content and want to see more of it, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Subscribing makes a huge amount of difference to me. I've currently got about 220 subscribers, and my next big milestone is 250. If I can get to 250, I know I'm making content that people actually enjoy. So if you like my content and want to see more of it, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into pulling some shards. So first of all, we're on the Kale account, and we've got 175 shards. I'm definitely going to have to make room in between because I only have space for, how many have I got? About 50 shards per go, and that's obviously going to fill up the more champions I get. But I'll cut that so you guys won't have to see it. It's a boring old task, but I'll get into it and I'll make room in between. So let's go, the first 10 pull. And I haven't pulled Ancients in a while, that's why I have so many. I didn't pull Ancients on the last ×10 that they did. So I've got loads of Ancients. I'm hoping, if it's a 1% chance of legendaries, then I'm hoping that I'm going to at least get one legendary on each account. It'd be really nice if we got some more, but we'll see how it goes. We've got Tanix Hateflower, who I think was a free champion in the login reward scheme thing. No one else of note in that one. Gnarlhorn, maybe if you're an early game and you want someone to do some crowd control. No one else in that one, though. On to the next 10 pull. Fingers crossed. There's also a champion chase event for Wixwell. That's why I'm pulling these shards, to do the champion chase. And I got a legendary, and it's Theodore. That is crazy. I actually can't believe that's just happened. So as always, I'll go into his kit, we'll have a look at him. He's a great looking champion, really cool champion. I'll just read up on his kit quickly. I know what he does already, but I'll just read up on his kit quickly just in case there's any complicated words in there that I'm not going to be able to pronounce, because that normally happens in these videos, and then I'll go through the kit with you guys. So he's actually a pretty straightforward champion, to be honest. There isn't that much about his kit that's hard to say, or one of these skills that has like a list this long of things that they do in their skills. Yeah, he's a pretty simple champion. So on his A1, attacks all enemies, has a 30% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed for 2 turns. On his A2, has a 75% chance of placing 2 big poison debuffs and a 25% poison sensitivity debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. Also places a 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns. So he debuffs the enemies and he buffs your team. And then on his A3, which is what he's known for, and this is what makes him popular in the game, increases the duration of all poison debuffs and HP burn debuffs on all enemies for 1 turn, then instantly activates all poisons and HP burns on all enemies. Places a 25% weaken debuff for 2 turns on any enemies not under poison or HP burn. So what he's known for is blowing up waves. Essentially, he's the new version of a Seer. Because Seer's skill has been capped in late game, that people are now using his skill, or the other champion that has a poison exploder. I can't remember her name, but they're using Theodore because he absolutely blows up the enemy team. If you can stack him with poisons and then use that skill, then he just wipes a wave instantly. And then on his passive, he has this champion's resistance is increased by 5 for each poison debuff on the enemy team, and he has a accuracy aura in all battles for all allies by 50. So a great champion. I'm actually really happy to have him. I'm definitely going to be building him straight out and trying to put him in some of my teams. I don't have a champion that can give him the poisons to be able to blow up the waves, so I'm going to have to build 2 champions up at the same time and do some testing in some of my content. I think he's being used quite a lot in Doom Tower and Curse City where he can be, but I don't have any experience in this. I normally just use a Seer for all sort of content like that, for all wave clearing. So this champion's definitely going to go into my teams, and I'll kind of test him out and see what he's about. You might see him in the future with one of my most used champions, because Seer definitely is. So that's enough of Theodore. I'm really happy with that. Just the second 10 pull to get a legendary straight out of the bat. It just shows my Mercy was up there somewhere, I think. I'm really happy with that, but we'll just go on to the next one, see if we can get another legendary out of this account at least. That would be great. I reckon 2 legendaries might be on the table here, so that would be really nice. No one else of note in that last 10 pull, by the way, and definitely no one of note in this 10 pull either, so we'll move straight on. Some rubbish epics in there, not very impressed with that. There are some good epics out there. I still use epics in my teams, so it's not good to see some of these. Ultimate Galek or Gaelic or whatever you want to call him, I was never that impressed with him. People say he's a good early game HP burn champion, but I can never really work out his kit and make it sort of effective in Spider until I got a champion that just straight up did HP burn. I didn't really use him. I couldn't really figure him out, but maybe that's just me. On to the next one though. No one else of interest in that one. Another legendary would be really nice. Lady Annabelle. Actually, Lady Annabelle, if you pull her and you haven't got her and you're struggling with Bommel in Doom Tower, absolutely build her out. She is a game changer for me in Doom Tower rotations because she can solo Bommel on the hard content. So definitely a champion you want to keep an eye on. If you've got her, lock her in, keep her in your roster. Even if you're not doing Doom Tower, or you're struggling with Doom Tower or anything like that, or you're going to do Doom Tower at some point in the future, keep Lady Annabelle because she's a game changer for Bommel. No one else of interest in that one, and I need to make some room, so I'll be right back. Right, let's get back into it. 125 more. I've kept the epics just in case I need them for food or anything like that. But if I need to make more room as time goes on, I will feed those epics as we go. I also forgot to say, I'm personally struggling with only one of the last legendaries that I need for Lady Mikage. So if you've got loads of ancients like I have, it's definitely worth keeping an eye out for those epics that you need to build Lady Mikage, because this is your perfect opportunity for that. No one of note really in that one. Tyrell maybe, but he's a bit outclassed these days. No one of note in that one, and I'll just show you quickly where I am with Lady Mikage. So I've got the 2 epics and whoever this champion is, I can't remember her name. I'm just waiting on the champions needed for this last one. So definitely keep an eye out for those epics if you're going to be pulling ancients, because obviously this one is dedicated to just voids, this werewolf guy. So if you're looking at all the other affinity champions and epics, this is definitely the sort of time and the place to get those champions. So keep an eye for sure. Let's just keep going with the ancients though. I don't want anyone to get bored with my rambling. Another 10 pull. Another legendary. All rares. No, we got an epic in there. Cornelia. I definitely used her for Faction Wars, for the Dwarf Faction Wars team. So if you get her, keep her maybe if you want to do Faction Wars. I'm all done with Faction Wars, so I don't need another copy. I probably don't even really need the copy that I have, but some people are using her to solo content in Doom Tower. I think you need some really hard-hitting gear to use her for soloing, but that's just my opinion. No one of interest really there. Siege Hulk, a good champion. Never used him though, so I couldn't comment on what he's good for, but I just know that people have used him and that he's a good champion. On to the next temple. Pistilius. No, thank you. Not interested in Pistilius. And I need to make more room. How many more have we got? We've got another 85 to go. So I will feed the epics that I've pulled so far, just to make a little bit more room. So hopefully we can sort of get this done and out of the way. I've got the legendary now, so I'm not really too bothered about these remaining ancient shards, because it's the legendary that gets you the sort of dopamine here, isn't it? But give me a sec, guys, and I'll be right back. So we can do another 5 10 pulls. I'll have to make a little bit more room for the remaining 35 shards. So let's go. Another legendary. Come on. It's not looking good. Oh, that was a bad time to sort of pray that I would get a legendary when we get an all rare run. On to the next one though, no one of interest, no rares, no good rares in that one. I mean, is there any good rares apart from Void rares? You've got Cold Heart, Painkeeper, Renegade, they're all really useful champions, but is there any normal affinity ones? I'm not sure. Chancellor Yasmin, no thank you. You're never going to get built on either of my accounts. I don't have enough resources to just build out random epics and see if they're any good, so definitely not going to get built on my account. We've got a Licinia. I don't know who Licinia is. Unless Licinia's the epic needed for the fusion. That would be really nice if that was the case. Should we have a look? Licinia? It's not Licinia. It's Arwid Quivergrass. Right. It's not that champion though, anyway. I don't know if it's a champion. It is a champion we need. That's interesting. So that's 2 of the epics now that I need for Lady Mikage. Just 2 more. Elrog and Eshma. Elfrig and Eshma is all I need. I've got Elfrig on my other account. I just don't have him on this account, which is a shame. But anyway, let's get back into pulling these ancients. I'm rambling. I'm going on tangents. I really want... Can you believe that? 3 legendaries. 3! 2 on the same temple. I don't know. I don't know about this. I don't know what's going on. Right. Let's go into their kit. So we've got Oparadin Clan Father, who I think I probably already have. I think he was a fusion. And Leandra, which is actually a champion I've been wanting for so long. I had a friend who started playing Raid about the same time as me, and the first legendary he pulled was her. And I was so jealous, and I've never pulled her since on either of my accounts. I don't have a copy, so I am buzzing that I've got her. She is a turn meter manipulator, and I think she might come into my arena team instead of Deacon, because at the moment I use Arbiter, then Deacon, then a CC'er, then a Nuker. But I think instead of Deacon, although the decreased defense does help on Deacon, but instead of Deacon I can use her, so I can just get my turn first every single time. So on her A1, attacks 1 enemy, transfers all debuffs from this champion to the target. On her A2, attacks 1 enemy, fully depletes the target's turn meter. And then on her A3, when ascended, places a 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns, fills the turn meter of all allies by 30%, decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 30%, and then she has a speed buff aura. So the A3 is what I want. So instead of Deacon, who I don't know the percentages on Deacon, I just feel like hers are probably better. I think she could probably come into my arena team, which would be really interesting. It would be really interesting to build her out and just see what she does, see if she can sort of do the same thing in my arena team. She obviously doesn't have a decreased defense, which does create a bit of a problem. But I have a Hefrak on this account who, I don't even know if he needs decreased defense at this point. He's such a hard-hitting champion. I don't know if that's necessary. But that is Lysandra. I'm really happy to have her. Welcome to the team. And then we've got Opadin Clan Father. I think I already have a copy of him. I think he was a fusion, but we'll go through his kit anyway. Attacks 1 enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 50% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 5% and a 50% chance of filling this champion's turn meter by 5%. So we've got two turn meter manipulators in the same temple, which is quite interesting. Attacks all enemies, heals all allies by 10% of this champion's max HP, heals all allies under the continuous heal buff by 15% instead. So I presume he has a continuous heal buff on his kit somewhere. There it is. Removes all block buffs and heal reduction debuffs from all allies, then places 2 continuous heal buffs on all allies for 2 turns. Also has a 75% chance of removing 1 random debuff from all allies. And then on his passive, each time a continuous heal buff on an ally... Each time a continuous heal buff heals an ally, fills that ally's turn meter by 5%. If there are multiple champions in the team with this skill, only one activates. So I've never built him out. I think he's probably in my account somewhere if he was a fusion. I've never built him out. I've never found a need for him. But I could see with those continuous heals, maybe he'll be a good champion to have in sort of clan boss. But I'm not sure. Tell me what you think in the comments if you think I'm wrong. Tell me where maybe he could be used. But there's definitely champions that do those jobs much better than him. Anyway, they're the 2 legendaries. Let's go on to the next temple. 3 legendaries from one account, from 1 Ancient Shard pull. I'm really happy with that. 3 out of 175 shards. I think that's breaking. If it's 1%, then it should only be 1 legendary. So I'm pretty buzzing about that. No one really of interest in there. Anax and Siege Hulk. Anax is actually, well, people say he's a really good champion, but I don't know an awful lot about him. 35 shards to go. I'll make a little bit of room and then we'll jump straight back in. So the last 35. Can I get another legendary? Can we get 4 from 175 ancients? If we can, I'll be pretty buzzing about that. I'll be pretty happy. No one of interest in this one so far. Definitely not. Galcut and Tarshon. Not interested in either of them. Galcut has a secret. If you set him up right with the right team, he's secretly one of the hardest damage dealers in the game. But only, I think. I can't believe that's just happened. Rorik Wormbane, I do have a copy of him already. He definitely was a fusion or a fragment or something like that. But 4 legendaries in the same Ancient Shard pull. I can't believe this is happening. Let's hope we get the same luck on the other account because this is wild. So I'll go into his kit. I don't think he's a very interesting champion, but I'll go into his kit anyway. Attacks 1 enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 40% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. Each hit will fill this champion's turn meter by 15% if the target is not under stun after the hit. On his A2, attacks 1 enemy, has an 80% chance of placing a chance of decreasing the champion's turn meter by 75% if this skill fully depletes the champion's turn meter. Also has an 80% chance of placing a stun debuff on all other enemies for 1 turn. On his A3, when ascended, attacks 1 enemy, will ignore 50% of the target's defense, which I guess is actually quite good. I guess that is quite good, actually. Maybe he's not that hard a hitting champion, that's why people don't really use him. I'm not sure on that one. And then the passive effect of his A3 will always use this skill instead of the default skill when counter-attacking. That's a great skill, actually. This skill will not be blocked by any block active skill buffs. Okay, so he can use it as a default skill if he's counter-attacking, and the block active skills from like a Ronda or something like that won't affect him. I think it's Ronda that has that. Won't affect him for that skill in particular. On his passive, immune to all stuns, deals 15% more damage to bosses and receives 15% less damage from them, and then he has a speed aura by 19%. It's actually quite a good champion. I don't know why people don't use it. Maybe he just doesn't hit that hard. His multipliers aren't that good, and he's not that good a champion. But I can see this skill being quite good, actually. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Again, if I'm wrong, let me know. If he's a rubbish champion or if he's a great champion. I've never built him out, but maybe I should. Maybe he's like a hidden gem that people aren't using that really, really definitely should. Anyway, let's move on. We'll do the last couple of temples, and we'll move on to the other account. And hopefully we get just as many legendaries, because this is a pretty wild day, actually. I'm pretty happy with this. Venomage, a great champion, great for Curse City. If you've got Venomage, I have on one account but not on the other. So hopefully this is the other account. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but hopefully great for Curse City. And we'll pull the 5, and then we'll go on to the other account and do exactly the same over there. And fingers crossed, we get just as many legendaries. Number 1, a rare. Number 2, a rare. Number 3, a rare. Number 4, an epic. Hey, Rector Drath, a great champion, great reviver. I use Rector Drath in Doomtower content and any content that I require a good reviver. I use her in Hydra as well for one of my rotations. So yeah, really good champion. She does Perfect Veil and revives and heals. So yeah, great champion to have. If she's in your roster and you haven't built her, then she might be a champion you need to look into. She's really good. And a Melga on the last one. 2 epics for the last 2. 4 legendaries. Outrageous. I'm number 1 in the champion chase, which I can't believe that actually. I don't think that's ever happened before, but I didn't get the top reward, so that's a shame. I'll just pull these rewards. I'll pull the rare. And I'll keep the energy just for when I need it most. There is a... Oh, there we go. Pops into the last one. I've got one of the big soul stones. And I'll keep the energy. There's a dragon tournament going on at the moment. So I'll be using that energy once I get off this recording, basically. And then what I'll do, guys, I'll go onto the other account and we'll do exactly the same over there. So here we are on the Galek account. We've got 156. We've got a target of 4 legendary champions. We've got a target of the Lady Mikage epics that I need, which are the 2. I have the 2 that I need on one account, on the other account. So I've got Elfrig and I've got whatever that champion's name was on this account, but I'm missing these 2. But on my other account, I have these 2, but I'm missing those 2. So that's such a shame. I've got all 3 of these champions on both accounts, just not this last one. So, but I'm desperate for at least 1 mythical. A friend of mine has recently restarted playing Raid. He pulled some shards. He pulled some of the red ones. Oh God, I can't remember anything all of a sudden. Some of the primal shards, and he pulled a mythical, and I am so jealous. So I'm desperate for at least a mythical, even if it's Lady Mikage and it's a fusion. I'm just desperate to have one to say I've got one. But enough of that. 4 legendaries is on the cards, I reckon. Let's give it a go. I'm going to start pulling, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we get some good champions, we get some good legendaries. A Doom Priest, good champion. No one else of note in that one. A legendary. No one of note in that one. Moving on. Apothecary, a legendary and a rare skin, but not a legendary all the same. So, legendaries. Haikatu, Missionary, Magnar, Shaman, and Miscreated Monster. I mean, loads of epics, but not the legendary that I want. Moving on. Come on. Miscreated Monster, great if you're struggling in Spider. Does a big shield because it's based on the damage he does. And obviously, he does it. Well, it's not obvious. He does an AoE on all the spiders, and there's loads of them. So he's a really good champion for that. I need to make a little bit of room, and then we'll start pulling these 4 legendaries that we need. Give me 2 seconds. So here we are, back into it. 116. Let's go. 4 legendaries in the same 10 pool. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. No legendaries in the same 10 pool. That's what I said, right? Right? So an Ultimate Galek, no one else, no one of interest. It's not looking good for these legendaries. We've still got 90-something shards to go, but it's not looking good. Metal Shaper, good for early. Scarab King, but that's about it. Doom Priest, I still use in both of my Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss teams. Moving on though, not interested. I only want legendaries. I don't know how many times I need to say it. The game doesn't seem to get it. Grimskin. All rares. What's going on? This is awful. Dreadful. Lady Annabelle. I got one on both accounts, so she's going to be food. Infernal Baroness and Chancellor Yasmin. I need to make more room. I'll get rid of the epics and we'll keep going. Right, let's go. 76. 76. Oh, what have I just done? What have I just done? I don't want these. I don't want mystery shards. I want ancient shards. 76 ancient shards, 4 legendaries. There's still a chance. It could happen. You've seen crazier things happen. You see it on the internet all the time. Raid people posting, oh, I got all of these legendaries. Thanassel, not interested. Not a legendary. There we go! There we go! Green Warden Ruark. I don't know anything about this champion, but he does look cool. That is a cool skin. I've said in the past I'm not that big a fan of the Sylvan Watchers, but when he's all armoured up like that, I think he looks really cool. It's more of the sort of nature element when they're sort of ethereal and naturey that I'm not that into, but sort of Wooded Knight. That's something I can get behind. That's something I like. So he's a defensive champion. Not that that's significant, but well, it might be significant. I don't know. We'll go into his kit. Attacks one enemy, transfers all debuffs from this champion to the target, heals this champion by 5% of their maximum HP for each debuff transferred. On his A2, attacks all enemies, has an 80% chance of placing a 50% decrease attack debuff for 2 turns. Also steals all continuous heal debuffs from each enemy. This effect cannot be resisted, so you don't need to build accuracy in his kit. Well, unless there's other debuffs that can be resisted. Places a taunt buff and a 60% increase defense buff and a strengthen buff on this champion for 2 turns. So he's a tank, absolute tank. And on his passive, whenever an ally loses 10% or more of their max HP from a single hit, places a shield buff on that ally for 2 turns equal to 10% of their max HP. So, and then he's got an increased defense in all battles by 30%. So he's a tank champion. He places a taunt, and then all of the enemy have to attack him while that taunt buff is on. So that's essentially what he is. He's a tank for your team, which is great actually. And I haven't got that much into Shogun, the Shogun dungeon, but that is a skill that you need in that dungeon from what I can tell. So with him and Emic, I've got 2 champions that both have the taunt buff now. So maybe I've got some wiggle room and maybe I can get into there and start farming it up. But on to the next 10 pull. We've got 1 legendary down. Knowing my luck, I'm not going to get any more. But from the last account that we just did, I'm owed 3 more legendaries in my opinion. And there's the next one! Nama the Returned. Not a champion I need. I have Nama, I think, on this account, but we'll go through her kit. She is definitely a cool looking champion. I love these sort of scythes that she uses and all of the blades on her and everything like that. Cool looking champion. I like the Rev Knights. I think they're a cool aesthetic. So on her A1, places attacks one enemy, has a 40% chance of increasing the duration of 3 random debuffs on this target by 1 turn. On her A2, attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance of placing a 50% decrease attack debuff for 3 turns. Also heals all allies by 15% of this champion's max HP. The heal increases by 2% for each poison on the target. And then on her A3, attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance of placing 3 poisons and poison sensitivity for 3 turns. And has an accuracy for all allies by 80, increase accuracy for all allies by 80. This is a champion I tried to use early on in Clan Boss to replace Frozen Banshee, but because I had a counter-attack team, Frozen Banshee was actually more effective because she put out more poisons than this skill does. This is every 4 turns does 3 poisons, whereas Frozen Banshee is just A1, 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 A1 if you set her up correctly with a counter-attack team. So I actually found Frozen Banshee pumped out more poison than this champion did, than Nama did. But I built her out nonetheless. I tried her out. I thought she might be cool, but she wasn't. She didn't work out for me. But anyway, moving on. That's 2 legendaries we've got now. Only 2 more to go with 46 ancients. So let me make a little bit more room and we'll keep going. Right, 46 shards. 46 shards. 2 legendaries. Can we do it? Stag Knight, great champion. My go-to epic decreased defense champion. In fact, my go-to decreased defense champion for sure. Masked Fearmonger and Tarshon. Moving on though, no one else of interest in that one. If you've got Stag Knight and you haven't built him out, use him in your teams. He's an incredible champion. Infernal Baroness, no. Thanassel, no. Basilisk, no. Moving on. 2 legendaries in the same 10 pool. Jareg. Just Jareg in that one. No one else of interest. 2 legendaries in the same 10 pool. Feel like I've been saying that a lot. Basilisk again. Right, and then how many have we got? We've got 6 more left. I'll make a little bit of room and we'll pull the 6. Right, we made a little bit of room. Let's hope we get 2 legendaries back to back out of these 6. And then we've pulled 8 legendaries in total in one video, which is outrageous to say out loud. I mean, 6 is outrageous to say as it is. 6 out of, I think it's about 330 ancients. 6 is well above the odds, so I am very happy with that. I'm not even paying attention to these unless it's flashing up with lightning and it's gold. I'm not paying attention. But 6 is an outrageous amount. I'm very, very happy with that. And some of the champions, you know, I've already got copies of them. I've already used them. They're not in my teams now or anything like that. But some of them, Leandra and Theodore, are like... they're some of the best champions in the game, so I'm happy with that. Theodore is probably one of the most wanted champions in the game, and I wouldn't be surprised to see he's one of the most used champions in the game as well. But that is it for all of the Ancient Shards on both of my accounts. I saved up, I didn't do them on the last temple, and it turns out, the last times 2, sorry, and it turns out that was a great idea, because I don't think I would have pulled that many champions if I only had sort of 200 Ancient Shards, but because I had the 330, we had more of a chance to get Legendaries, so I am buzzing. And guys, please do let me know if you pulled any champions, if you got anyone good, any epics or Legendaries or even rares that are game-changing for you. I definitely had with Theodore and Leandra. They are champions I've been waiting for months, years even. I've been playing this game for about 4 years. I've never had Leandra, and she's a champion that I've definitely 100% wanted. So I am very happy with this. We got 6 Legendaries in total, which is ludicrous to say. But let me know if you got the same luck. If Raid Shadow Legends has suddenly upped the odds and given everyone Legendaries, that would be lovely. But please do let me know in the comments if you got any good champions or anyone in your teams that you think are significant. Thank you for watching, guys. It's been a hell of a ride. I've pulled way too many Legendaries. But yeah, thank you. Hopefully we get just as much luck on my next future shard pull videos. And I'll see you next time.